What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 262 of Littleroot Lessons. I'm Ro, and I'm joined by my two fabulous co-hosts, my bun brother Carter, and the Elden Lord himself, Jay. How are you, boys?
Alive,
yeah. How was I know Jay, you were on vacation, and Carter was
working.
Were you working? Yo, you were working. Oh, well, I'm not going to ask you how that was.
doing.
But Jay, how was vacation?
Vacation was nice. I saw the family, and then I came back up here and went to an aquarium. So that was cool.
Aquariums are fucking awesome. I got engaged in an aquarium.
Nice. They
Yeah,
had they had axolotls here.
That's so cool.
Year. So
I don't think any of them I've been to have had axolotls.
Yeah, it was kind of a big draw. Like they had it on their sign and everything. So
is that the one in Schenectady?
It is.
I'm gonna have to tell Amanda about this. I might get her.
It was cool. It was a nice little trip. That one was fun. It wasn't like a big aquarium or anything, but it was definitely a nice sets and everything. And then being home with the family was nice too. So
yeah, it's always nice. And of course, like us three being together also feels like being home with the family. We haven't really had the three of us in a pod a lot recently, so I think it's always good to get the two of us, Jay and I, together, and Carter, who always is paying attention even when he's not.
I feel like I should be insulted, so I'm gonna be.
You aren't looking at the
you probably should be.
A little. It's out of love. So what we have to talk about this weekend, actually, first of all, before we get into the weekend, I know Carl and I gave a lot of talk about Pokemon Day. Outside of Carter not getting the DK64 remaster that he's asked for every single Nintendo announcement ever since I've known him, what are your thoughts on the games?
This might come off as like a hot take, but like outside of what is it, Champions that got announced?
Yeah,
it was kind of a nothing presentation, and even that was just like, hey, we're doing something.
Yeah,
like it really was just like kind of nothing.
Because like we didn't even get the date for Arceus. It's just like, it's coming, guys. Here you go. Here's info.
Here's another trailer showing off the 2 Johto starters we haven't used yet, and the pig.
And Jay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually, my take is even more cynical than yours is, Carter. I really didn't like much of anything that I saw. I know I'm coming from like a very negative place right now in terms of how I feel about Pokemon generally, but like even Champions, like I just can't help but feel that there's like nefarious intentions in terms of like what the Pokemon company is trying to do with VGC. Like I see the vision and how it could potentially grow the VGC community. As Yui is here to join us, I think.
I mean, I think the big thing about it is they can't, from my understanding, they can't shut down Showdown without them having like some kind of proof that like it's interrupting like their flow of like gameplay, right? Like the fact that they don't have like a dedicated battle simulator means that they can't really do anything about it. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if that's completely true. I've heard that online.
My thing is that a lot of people seem to be coming at this from the perspective that this is going to be a battle simulator.
Yes,
I don't see it as that. No, I don't.
Don't think it's going to be like.
I firmly don't think so. The fact that we can port Pokemon from Pokemon Home makes me think that this is going to be a place not where you can go and build your teams in the way you can like a Showdown and have it be super accessible.
Yes.
It's going to be a place where you're bringing over, your Pokemon from your base game to play in these battles and stuff. And sure, they'll have a ranked ladder, but my nefarious mind on this is that for years now we've been talking about Pokemon that are locked behind paywalls, DLCs, and how these are the most broken Pokemon. And now you're going to put the competitive game probably behind another paywall.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say it's $30 or whatever, but now you're also still going to have to pay for your Switch subscription an extra $30 plus the new games, plus the DLCs, plus Pokemon Home, which is another, to have a specific amount of Pokemon or to move a specific amount, you need another subscription on top of that. Plus, who knows if the Champions is going to be a monthly subscription or not, too, because they already have shown that they're willing to do this model, especially for stuff that's on the phone. Like, I have a lot of concerns, and I also feel like moving VGC away into this other game is not going to entice people to play the game in the way that a lot of people seem to be thinking, that it's going to move the needle, bringing in a lot of common players, because I don't think you're going to do it by putting it behind another game you're going to have to pay $30 to $60 for, right? Or a monthly subscription. You're going to do it by having the online battling as a focal point or a more highlighted portion within your main games. People aren't going to go and seek an additional game. They're going to want to look within their own thing. If you're not growing it within Scarlet and Violet now, which we're seeing a huge boon in tournaments. I think that we're going to actually see maybe even less, especially if this is not a battle simulator and that you can build your own Pokemon in it. Which I don't think it's going to be.
I'm hoping there's
what this will be is you can connect your home account to it. It'll register that you've had these Pokemon in your home, and then you can do something with them from there. That is like super optimistic of like what I would like, right? It's like, oh, you have registered in your Pokédex Kangaskhan. You can build a Kangaskhan however you would like to be able to play with.
Yeah,
I don't think that's actually how it's going to be.
No.
I have a feeling it's going to be, hey, you can bring over your Mega Kangaskhan set from 2014 and now have everything, like, you don't have to re-EV anything because this Pokemon is already set the way you had it built then.
Yeah. I think, one of the things that it did come out from one of the Japanese leakers is that, like, there is going to be a cost for this game, whether it's an upfront cost or a one-time thing. It's not going to be a free game, which does make me wonder how it's going to work via the mobile app side of it as well. Maybe it's like if you buy one you get the other, who can say. I am being, because I feel like I have to be the optimist, to balance everything. I am cautiously optimistic. I don't think it's going to be like a direct showdown rip, but maybe there's a way where this game does make it easier for you to customize your Pokemon, to do the training and everything. We aren't going to know until we know. Exactly. I think the best time.
I want to be hopeful, optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. Yeah, cautiously optimistic.
But in reality, I think that we just don't have enough information to know exactly what it is, other than, hey, here's a trailer showing a Mega Pokemon.
Yeah, there was a lot that was revealed in the trailer, and I think that there's a couple of things that even from the limited stuff can still be, kind of go towards the stuff that we're talking about. This is probably going to come out around Gen 10. This is probably going to be more than likely what they're going to try to phase VGC towards in our competitive circuit, because they're actually going to. So you think about this for Gen 10, all right, to get an optimal team. If there is no way to just put in the same way you do in Showdown and input these things into the thing, you're going to need to get Legend ZA, Legend Scarlet and Violet if you want to get both of the paradoxes, Pokemon Champions, whatever next generation is going to be.
Yep.
And whatever the other copy of that is going to be, plus the DLCs that they're going to drop on top of that.
Plus
Home, just to be able to get a relatively competitive team.
Yeah,
you're going to need at least 4 of those probably.
It's going to potentially be a lot, and hopefully there are ways that they just make it easier. But I think we'll probably find out around Worlds. That's usually when we get some sort of competitive announcement. And if this is going to be like the next competitive game, it's probably we're probably going to find out more about it then. But before we get to Worlds, we still have a lot of regionals to cover, including this weekend's at Vancouver. One of the last events we're having in North America for Regulation G, and it was something. Don't know what it was, but it was something. So, while when you look at the overall Pokemon usage, it seems about right. Miraidon spot, like the top 12, including even your top restricteds, it's kind of clear where we're coming from. I don't think it's really worth going over here, especially because you have teams that look like this. And if you're a fan of Carter's Corner, congratulations. This entire episode is pretty much going to be Carter's Corner with the teams that we have to talk about. And of course, we have first place over here, Bizarra Muntazar. Muntazir? I tried. Lunala won a regional in 2025.
It did. And it's the meteor beam set that I'm pretty sure I've been pretty negative on.
All of us have been like, this isn't great.
I personally like the move Meteor Beam, so whenever I see it, I get excited. But, the Lunala did have a very tough position in this meta. Like having the same typing as Caloric Shadow is never a good thing, and we've seen how negative the meta's been towards that. But Lunala has something that Caloric Shadow doesn't, a way to one-shot Incineroar, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, this is I think like it also shows some of the creativity, at least how you can go at team building. Because when you look at this team, it's like, wow, this is actually pretty freaking crazy. Like Lunala, Lando, Ogerpon, Heartflame, like all of these Pokemon are really neat and do a lot of cool things. And then I saw a little comment like right before we started recording. This is just the Tang team, but a Psy-Spam package with Lunala and Didi instead of the Calyrex Ice, like Amoonguss more balancing mode. And I'm like, oh my god, it absolutely is. And when you watch the way Bizarre played it, he kind of played it the same way that the Tangs played their team. It's a lot of the other pieces outside of the restricted and the redirector, they're exactly the same, and they play the exact same way. It's you have the tail room mode. The biggest boon of this, and I think the reason why Lunala worked instead of another restricted in this that wasn't Calyrex Ice, is the fact that you have a restricted that is its own speed control and can put out a lot of damage. Once you get the Meteor Beam going, like especially with Expanding Force as your high power spread move, like Lunala kind of does a decent job at putting a lot of damage out there, especially in Trick Room, and is also a lot bulkier with the Shadow Shield ability. Say anything else?
Sandsear Storm on Lando was something very, I guess, concerning in the matches that I was watching. I know in top 4 they were playing against Ursaluna, and they really needed to hit this Ursaluna real bad with the Landorus because they had like a Miraidon out on the field on the other side, so it was like not really that threatening. And the Sandsphere Storm missed one of them, and it was like game breaking if it misses the Ursaluna, and then he ended up hitting the Ursaluna and missing the Miraidon, so it was like, oh my gosh, it was scary. But high powered spread moves do win you games, and you can bring this really easily into like opposing rain matchups.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you have two mons, not only the Landorus, but the Stellar Terra, Sash, Urshifu, Rapid Strike. You have two Pokemon that are really great bringing into rain matchups. Honestly, Landorus is just in a great place in general. Even some of the anti-rain mons, such as Koraidon. Koraidon loves going and using that Terra Fire. Well, Landorus is there to put out a lot of speed against it. If they aren't pretty much max speed, and then threaten it with a Sandsear Storm or an Earth Power to really just take it down and abuse it going for Terra Fire. So like, there's a lot of really great tools in this team. A lot again. You have two Trick Room setters. You have the Tailwind mode with Roaring Moon. Pretty much like there's no possible group of 4 Pokemon you can bring and not have some sort of speed control on your team, with half of your team having a speed control move. And the order of operations are so important. And we know that with like faster Pokemon, or Pokemon that moves first usually does better, because you can get rid of the problems on your opponent's side of the field. This team makes sure that you pretty much always have the not only speed control, but the right sort of speed control for your team. So yeah, this has just been a really, really cool team for this event.
Sandseer Storm and like the other Storm moves, they don't get reduced accuracy in Sun, right?
They do not.
They just get more accuracy in Rain.
Yes,
except for Springtide.
Yep, except for Springtide, which just gets no boost ever. Even though it rains in spring.
Nope, Angela, we nope, don't need it.
And the Tide is water related.
Nope, I'm not.
Not
touching it. Not touching it. Not going near it.
But Sandseer, that really makes me think.
Yeah,
that
no,
really
definitely.
Makes me think,
because
burning hot in the sand really makes me think the rain.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Another Pokemon that doesn't make me think of rain is Torkoal, which we see in Alejandro's second place team, which is the classic Calyrex Ice hard trick room with the Smeargle, Specs Torkoal, Gallade. This is like, I know we've had, it was like a month or so ago we had Bruno on. This team, it feels like Alejandro went into the Spam Mafia server and asked our Don Matt Bruno, give team please, and this is what he got.
Yes, excuse me, team please.
It's like the 2 paths meme, and you had the first place team was like the good side, where it's like add a spam mode to a different team, and then it's like the really bad side, and it's like make the team around the spam mode. And this is that, and I love going down that bad path, and just like I love being able to find ways to tack a spam mode into a team, but even better is just being like, I'm going spam and you can do nothing about it. And I mean, Alejandro did that for the entirety of the tournament, and in finals, like, he also just went out there and said, I'm gonna set up Trick Room and I'm gonna do spam stuff, and like just didn't have enough turns to get it done. It was pretty unfortunate. I thought he got into some really good positions, but yeah, it was just able to be stalled out so well by Bezod's team. Yeah.
No, I think like the Terra Water was huge, especially I believe it was game 2 where Bezod had the Terra Water on Lunala, and it was like
both games.
Yeah, both games, yeah. And it was, well, your Torkoal, even at full in the sun, isn't doing shit into me. So I'm just going to like outbulk you, and I think Bezod got the Torkoal down to like 16 hit points, and it's like, okay, it's locked into Eruption, I can ignore it now, and just didn't look at that spot until it was the last Pokemon remaining. And that is like the downside of the Choice Specs Torkoal. As insanely powerful as Choice Specs Eruption in the sun can be, you are also getting to these positions where once that Eruption is locked in and you took a lot of damage, you don't do anything. And the amount of your damage output just becomes negligible, and you're honestly playing a 1v2 with like a little cheerleader off to the side. Don't think there's much more to talk about here. This is a team that we've talked about a lot. We know, again, we know what it's here to do one thing, and Alejandro was very damn good at doing it. The next team, Chase Rumpka's third place team. This is the top rated, the top Miraidon team, and this is a little different from the Miraidons that we have seen in the past. Of course, the Fergraph and the Whimsicott, which are again that tail room mode that Miraidon loves to have, are still here. However, the other 3 spots are a little different. Like, we have the Sash Rapid Strike Urshifu, and especially the 2 big ones, Assault Vest Terra Dragon Incineroar, and the Terra Poison Ursaluna Hisuian as your Trick Room mode. Usually we're used to a Pokemon such as like Iron Hands being that like slower mode Mon and also being the fake out Mon, so having both of those spots split between Incin and Ursaluna, while also Incin and Ursaluna doing their own things very well, it is a little different change compared to the Arabega team that we're so used to seeing.
Isn't this basically like the same 6-low that we used to see, except instead of Ursaluna, it was Blood Moon?
Yeah,
Like,
but that was more fun and ethical because it was Blood Moon.
Yeah.
Bear hits hard.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the other thing, that other team also was using Ogerpon over Urshifu.
Oh yeah.
So I think like that was the other thing where this team doesn't have the redirection aspect that a lot of the other,
which is really
Miraidon teams
weird
have
in my
used.
opinion with an Ursaluna. Like, you're not always going to be able to protect it. Like, obviously in the face of like Urshifu or whatever, with it, being the number one used mon at this tournament, you would kind of like some kind of redirection so your Ursaluna is not just getting hit by a Surging Strikes on turn one. But like, I don't know, it seems fine. Bear hits really hard, Urshifu hits really hard, Miraidon hits really hard. Now put them in Tailwind or Trick Room, depending on what your opponent does, and like go to town. Like, the AV Incin is something I really like. It's something that like I've wanted to play with more, and I just haven't like done so. Just having like this extra bulk and like the attacks that Incin runs, like you're gonna run those anyway. Outside of like exactly U-turn, which normally you would have like Parting Shot in that slot instead. But yeah.
Yeah, I think like I think one of the things that we've been looking at, especially in the second run of Reg G, is how is Miraidon going to update, and there's going to be another Miraidon team that we talk about later on that has a pretty solid update to it as well. But it seems that people are starting to like the AV Incin as just another great tech to move along this progress the development of this Pokemon.
Yeah.
Another Pokemon that honestly we haven't really seen a lot of development with, and like we're actually going backwards to an extent, is Terapagos. We saw a lot, like the main team that we've been seeing, which we'll cover a little later, is the Terapagos plus Heatran teams, set up very balancy. This goes back to the Choice Specs Terapagos that we're getting a lot of early results back in the first few events, all the way up to NAIC of Regulation G last year. And a lot of the pieces here are similar to what we see with the Specs Miraidon teams. The Whimsicott with screens, a Giraffe, Ogerpon Heartflame as like your redirector, an Urshifu because it's Urshifu, and then that ground type here being Landorus, similar set to the winning set with the Sheer Force, Life Orb, Protect 3 attacks, Sandsear Storm.
This team's pretty cool.
Yeah.
One
of the things that... Oh, you go, Jay.
Okay. Before we get too far from like the Miraidon team that we talked about, with chases, I just wanted to say that Miraidon was like, it had quite a bit of speed on this team, which was something that we haven't been seeing in the past couple of weeks.
No.
And as we like move to a different Choice Specs attacker, I think that's kind of something that we're gonna see be a little bit of a difference maker with Terapagos and Miraidon, is like immediate pressure from Miraidon and its pivoting. Terapagos feels a little weird and inflexible sometimes in that, its ability is a kind of a one-time thing, and you're gonna break your shell and then you're gonna do your terraform and all that, but like Miraidon is so quick, able to pivot so quickly, and able to bounce around, move that electric terrain back into play again. That I think that maybe that team edges this one out slightly, but like I like the bulk direction that Terapagos brings you in as well. Obviously, similar ideas in the team composition, just two different kind of special attacking restricteds with choice specs.
Yeah, I think one of the other things, even just changing, like just general changes from NAI seeding now, we weren't seeing Farigiraf on these successful Choice Specs Terapagos teams, and it seemed that they just fell out of favor because everyone just knew you could fake out cycle them, which is just a general issue with the Terapagos teams overall. So adding the Farigiraf, which is something that they're taking from the Miraidon, successful Miraidon teams, that's something that's a really nice change to it.
Well,
but
to like add on that, you also have Encore on your Whimsicott here to like lock them into fake out if they just stay in too.
Yep, that is something else that's big. But what you said, I think, really sums up Terapagos. Immediate pressure versus like having to wait a little, and not so like I think that's why the specs set did best this weekend, is because if you're running the setup set that we've seen so often throughout this metagame, you aren't doing anything for your first 2 to 3 turns, and all it takes is your opponent to make one read, get one crit, you lose a balance piece, you can't flip around anymore, you lose like your redirection, your fake out, and everything falls apart because the Terapagos can't get to its +2, +2, +3, +3. Jesus, I can't talk. But now getting it like with the specs, you at least have that immediate damage output. You have 2 modes of speed control where you can position your Terapagos into being able to click the like whether it's the Terra Star Storm, what in and outside of Terra, or of course like the Hyper Beam, which is the ultimate get out of jail free card, as a way to take that last knockout. Like it definitely adds a layer that you have to worry about that you don't with the other Terapagos teams that we kind of saw this weekend. But it still isn't as potent and as threatening immediately as the Miraidon. So I'd say the next few teams are, I wouldn't say boring, but more so stuff we've seen before, so we'll just go through them real quickly. James Beck made I believe this is the first tournament he's played in a long while.
See, that's a name I've not heard in a hot minute.
Yeah. This is classic. Honestly, it's weird. Like, I'm saying that this is a team we've seen before. We haven't seen the classic CSR, Clefairy, Mienshao, like, balance in a very long while.
Is there a way on LabMouse to search by player?
If you search the player's name, I believe so. Only within the tournament. I don't think you can search like generally. So I can't tell you. I don't think we can find out like when the last time James played. But like it's been a bit.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to look at, is to see.
Yeah, it has been a decent bit of time. But like again, this is kind of something we've seen. I'd say the interesting changes are on the Clefairy set specifically. Heal Pulse and Icy Wind are 2 tech moves that we really weren't seeing on the Clefairy. We would see like After You, Helping Hand, Sing. So those are, or Moonblast. So those are 2 nice little changes. The Icy Wind gives the team a speed control option. And also, I don't think that's a typo, but that's Rain Dance Urshifu.
That's sick. I love that. I don't know if that's true or not, and I'm really hoping it is. Because that's
think
so
it is
funny.
One of the things
I could see it being it.
I could too.
I can't too, because like I'm already seeing it like Rain Dance Urshifu self knockoff to get the scarf off, and then you can start throwing out these surging strikes.
I mean, just as like a counter to Koraidon, to Sun. Yeah, it's a way to get around Raging Bolt for a turn potentially. I think that it's a way for Rillaboom to potentially survive more Chi-Yu hits and stuff. I think that there's a decent amount of synergy. I don't see how the Urshifu makes use of it like offensively. Like you're gonna have to manually switch it, I guess, with the Balance Rose and Heal Pulse. You're able to make that happen, but definitely seems like a very niche tech from Beck here.
Next team, also relatively standard, Ian Holderman. This is just the classic double redirection, balance, the Calyrex Ice team that we've been seeing. You have both Amoonguss and the Ogerpon Cornerstone, Instant with Goggles, another Scarf Urshifu Rapid Strike, and your Raging Bolt as the special attacker, and also like other big-bodied Pokemon that you can use as both an offensive and defensive pivot. We can move on to the next. Unless you guys have anything, we can move on to the next team.
I'm good.
Okay. Zachary Minish. This is more of a offensive mode for the Calyrex Shadow with Life Orb and Tailwind support. Along, again, still with balanced pieces, but you stick with more offensive ones, such as the Urshifu Rapid Strike and the Ogerpon Heart Flame. While also, with both of these Raging Bolts being booster energy, Zach's being the Terra Electric version, he is really like leaning in on putting out as much damage as possible. You also, just looking at it, you also have the Stellar on the Urshifu. So a lot of offensive terrors on this team, and a lot of ways to put out very fast offense.
Terra Electric Thunderclap hits really hard.
Yep. The T-Bolt as well, especially with the booster, you're doing a lot of damage. The last team to round out our top 8, Giovanni. This is a more standard version of Sun that we're used to. The only really neat tech I'd say would be the Ditto.
I think Cloaked Chiyu is cool too, with
the
Taunt and Snarl and stuff.
It is, and also like even the Flutter Mane with Icy Wind and Sunny Day. So you have that Flutter Chiyu, but no, not that Flutter Chiyu. It's not as scary in open team sheet as it would be on closed team sheet. Closed team sheet, this team probably looks like an absolute menace because you're thinking, oh my god, it's a Scarf Chiyu booster, speed Flutter. I'm going to just die immediately. And nope, they're kind of more so support mons than anything else.
Yeah, but you're still able to turn and go like Terra Fairy Moonblast plus Heat Wave and Sun or something, like you can still definitely do that, which I think is the best part of Flutter U combos. I think that this combo is like incredibly underrated. I don't think enough people are playing it, and that's because it's not like at like 97% usage. Genuinely busted combo, and anybody who says otherwise can come and fight me.
Yep.
Tell me how you really feel, Jay.
No, I will say, and we did mention this in our server, that if Champions is what we think VGC, like if it is the VGC like that we think it's going to be, it's actually going to most closely represent like Natdex doubles as the most. So, if Jayon retires and if Carter is able to get to any events, they're just going to win because they just dominated the entire format for a month. They already know it's good.
We have played our fair share, yes.
Until people who also have played like VGC during those times and these times are like, oh yeah, that's what those Pokemon do. I remember. And they're like, okay, I'm up to speed now. Like after they play like 3 games or something of the new format, I think mine and Carter's chances
the reason we were good at that format is because the good players weren't playing it.
Oh god.
There is a couple good players who do play it. I know Tio plays in that server quite a bit. But I have not checked up in there for quite some time, and I have not played myself in even longer, so
we all need breaks in life from things. So I know, Jay, you sent me a lot of teams, and I think we can just scroll down and start through.
Yeah. There's this chunky little group here, 15 through 17, which I think are all pretty neat.
Yeah, and so Top Cut was through 24th place, so these teams did Top Cut. And in the case of Raghav and Joshua, they actually won their first round of Cut as well. And we'll start with their team. We were like, this is the interesting, fun version of the Terrapago setup. with your Screamtail and the Magmastorm Heatran. This specific tech of Magmastorm Heatran is something that we've been seeing adapt over the last month or two. One of the benefits and improvements is it's now finally using a real item and not that stupid zoom lens. It has other real attacks on it. Like it's Heatran's a good Pokemon, and everyone's like, okay, this was funny, but what if we actually just ran it properly? And we get this.
Yeah, Heatran being a good Pokemon, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Crazy. Like, it fills a bunch of really important roles and does good things. I do think that this team is overall, like, decently passive. And that's a little bit of an issue. I think that only players of Rogov's level can really make this work to this ability. Like, you need to position perfectly, you need to play Screamtail really well, you need to get Terapagos set up at the right times. It's tough to know which buttons to click on this team and which Pokemon to bring, but I really like the 6.
Yeah. No, if you know how to play it, you can have a really, really successful like tournament run, which Rogov did. This is also another player who hasn't been popping up all too much. To see them return and just show up and finish top 16, like that just shows the general skill that they have and the ability to pilot these balanced teams. 16th, we have Joshua Robinson's team, which uses the Teal Mask Ogerpon as a fun little tech.
Yeah, I think that like Choppa's Covert Cloak Ogerpon is still the better version. But this team is cool. I mean, it's basic outside of really the Ogerpon, I guess. But I think that having, the multiple Follow Me users, the extra redirection from Amoonguss as well, and then a really solid Trick Room mode, with like an additional fast mode like Ogerpon plus Urshifu and Pelipper. Those 3 right there are really solid together. I think you can bring those plus Amoonguss or Indeedee most of the time, and still end up in pretty good matchups. So.
Yeah, watching Joshua play on stream, it was pretty fun because for him it would be like, here's my Calyrex, here's 3, and it was like, here's 2 Follow Me Mons and a Rage Powder Mon. You're not touching my Calyrex unless you have a spread move until you get like 3 other KOs. And like he just clicked Follow Me, Trick Room, and then Follow Me, Glacial Lance just over and over again. And it works.
Good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's like, and I think that is one of the things with these restricted Pokemon. Like Calyrex is so good that you can bring 3, in the grand scheme of things, 3 support Mons with you, and it doesn't matter. You still get the damage output that you need.
Yeah, I do just like it needs to kind of be said here with like the Ogerpon. I do love the Ogerpon Teal Mask pick, but it's also kind of a little weird considering the only one who's really too worried about Defiant on this about Intimidate on this team is the Ogerpon itself. Like that's the only one who's actually going to get affected by negative drops, and that doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess that's enough, especially when you're superpower KOing Incineroar. But I feel like this could have been a good opportunity to maybe see something like a Life Orb Calyrex Ice or a Berry Calyrex Ice or something. Maybe
Life Orb would be hot, or even just like Never Melt Ice or like Icicle Plate, whatever.
Yeah, like
or
or like some type of recovery item or something. Like I feel like you have this Defiant here. Like Incineroar is not too thrilled to be brought into this team to begin with. Like you want it there for Calyrex Ice, but like Urshifu, Pelipper, those 2 Pokemon right there do a good job at scaring it.
The only thing I can think of is if you have to bring like the Calyrex triple redirection mode and you're forced to leave Rain at home. I believe Ogerpon's superpower, once it gets a Defiant boost, does one-shot Calyrex.
It does not.
one-shot. It does not one-shot him.
Most of them, like no wait, maybe it does. I remember because I ran the Ogerpon for a while, but I remember having to run it with Life Orb to pick up KOs on Incineroar, so I'm actually kind of interested to see this.
I'm just gonna see
Superpower +1. Okay, it probably it's gonna pick up.
Yeah, at plus. Well, it looks like it depends.
If you're adamant, it definitely will.
Yeah, if you're jolly, and it looks like it misses, and also this like I'm looking at 228, 188 impish, so this is a very heavily defensive Incin.
Yeah, I can't remember why I needed to run the Life Orb.
It might have been for another mon.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, because I'm looking, if you're like the 236, 20 careful, like which is the old reliable set so in Nerd of Now, at +1, you OHKO even if you're jolly. So I think that like that would be my only thing, because again, if you can't bring the rain mode, then the only way Incin you can take out Incin is hitting your high horsepowers.
Yeah.
Which you want to be clicking. Not only do you want to be clicking Glacial Lance, you miss high horsepower 5% of the time, and that's.
Hear me out. What if this was like Ogerpon Wellspring?
Oh, if it was Wellspring, yeah. I mean, actually,
I just am surprised it doesn't see more play than what it does right now.
I think it's just because for this format,
Raging Bolts.
You have a lot of which you did have a lot of Raging Bolt in Regulation F as well.
I mean, you have Miraidon too. It was like
I was going to say you have Miraidon.
Better.
Yeah, you have Miraidon, which is big, and I think like the Urshifu redirection or switching into an Urshifu, you'd rather just that be like a Rocky Helmet mon than a Water Absorb mon, because like if you call the switch, because if they call your switch in, you're taking a lot of damage from a U-turn.
And like also when you're thinking about Ogerpon, I feel like you're looking a lot more, especially in this format since it's so high powered. You either are taking the attacking one or the one who's always guaranteed to survive.
Yeah, we actually looking at for day 2, Ogerpon Cornerstone actually had more usage than Heartflame.
That's
which I believe is a
no
first.
Surprise to me, honestly. I think that Cornerstone, it was always going to take time because people don't like its like typing that much, but offensively, it's great. And the fact that you get your mask item and a built-in focus sash is, unreal. It's super fast, and you still have the ability, the rock type defense boost is not gonna, win you games or anything, but you're still boosting your Ivy cudgels.
Yeah.
Like you're still gonna clap people with Terra Rock Ivy Cudgel. Like that's not gonna taste nice for anybody.
It was around this time last year where all I did on an entire episode was talk about how good it is having rock type attacks and being a rock type.
It's also a rock type attack that is 100% accurate, which is
exactly
yeah.
Yeah.
And you get 2 items on top of it. You get a life orb plus a focus sash.
Pretty much.
Unreal.
And a life orb that doesn't cost you your HP.
Yeah. And follow me, of course. It was a great package. Always a good package. The worst thing about it is that you really have to run Power Whip on it.
Yeah, so I know early-ish on, I remember Stefan talking about running 0 Ivy, or at least as low of an HP Ivy as you can, with Hornleech, so you can get your boost, like you can get your sturdy back up a lot easier with the Hornleech recovery. The only issue there is Urshifu. There's ways you can tech defensively for you to live the surging strikes. Going 0 HP at Ivy doesn't let you do that.
The other issue is also base power. I mean, it's like 75 as compared to Power Whip is what, 120?
Is it 110 or 120?
110. It's like high base power. I mean, for the most part,
it is 120.
It is, because it's like most of the time you're choosing like, am I taking Wood Hammer, which is reliable, but I'm going to take the damage and lose my sash, or am I taking Power Whip, which is going to miss and probably lose me some games. So it's like tough. I know I most of the time think I ran Wood Hammer when I had it on my draft league team. So that's kind of where I fall. But I like the Power Whip stuff.
Yeah. The next team, I saw this on stream. Well, first of all, I saw that someone played this and thought, no, that's a bit. And then I saw them on stream. I'm like, okay, no, someone brought Rotom Wash and Okidogi to a regional. And this is like, if there's one, outside of course the winning team, if there's one team that is going to be showdown Sammy's, like, I'm taking this team and I'm grinding ladder, it's going to be this one. Gene Ulysses brought Zacian with Torn Urshifu, Landorus. He got that double Genie like rain package, and then Safety Goggles, Foul Play, Rotom Wash, and AV Okidogi. I didn't even know that Rotom learned Foul Play until today.
Yeah, this is me learning that information.
Yep.
You guys got to read up on your Rotom facts, man.
I haven't had to read up on a Rotom fact in years because Rotom hasn't.
It has
honestly
been surprisingly not seen at all, like in this game, which is genuinely like just surprising to me.
Yeah, I did use Rotom, not this Rotom. I used Rotom Heat in Scarlet and Violet, but this was all the way back. Was it during? Did we run a draft league in this?
Yeah, we did.
No.
We did. It was we did like 2 years ago.
Bauer Dad, I remembered.
Yeah,
it was like
Man, that's a name I haven't heard playing Pokemon in forever.
No, that's how long ago it was. He had the Ursaluna team, the Ursaluna Bronzong Gudra team, and I had Rotom Heat on that team, and Foul Play, pretty elite move, a great little tech move in draft, and seems to be a really great tech move here in Regulation G as well.
Yeah, no, especially, I mean, it would have been a great tech move for this weekend when you look at the fact that like Lunala won the event. Being able to not only punish the restricted we have that have the times for weakness to dark, but also just look at all the Pokemon. There's just so many high offense, high attack stat mons. Foul Play is just a generally good move to have. I know Rotom gets like a lot of different moves, so I'm trying to think of like what else it could have been over Foul Play, if anything else. But I think in general, Foul Play is like a great call for this event. The other thing, Okidogi, this is a team that also, I mean, Zacian really doesn't like having instant around, so Okidogi is your instant counter. You have Upper Hand to stop the fake out, Drain Punch to punish it even more. And then, of course, Gunk Shot and Knockoff for those pesky Terra Fairy types, Knockoff for those Terra Ghosts that could give Okidogi some trouble. This isn't like this is an interesting team. I'm not sure if anyone else could have done better with this, but like Gene Ulysses like definitely got some matchups in his favor and was able to really pilot the team very well for a top 16 finish. No, I'm sorry, 17th. Yeah, so he won his win in and then lost his first round. But like going through it, like he also like he beat both James Evans and Aaron Brock in the last 2 rounds of day 1. So like he beat some pretty legitimate players like going through this tournament. Going back here, we'll go through. Jay, tell me what, because I know you have a few. I do want to list the
find the ones that I sent you guys.
Yeah, I know this was one we had. Jose Mena. This was just another interesting take on Zamazenta that we both pointed out. A lot of interesting techs. The Terra Bug, AV Roaring Moon. This is a substitute Iron Defense Zamazenta instead of the Protect wide guard that we're used to seeing, and then you also have you're getting the wide guard from the pelipper, and then you're also having the support Tinglu that's been really popping around a lot, and another Screamtail team.
This team is wild. I'm so glad Jay did my homework for me, because
yeah, well, no, this entire regional is literally just the Carter Quarter regional.
It's
a
really
lot
cool.
of
There's a
people
lot of cool
cooked up.
stuff.
1 moment, I have
26th place is another one.
26th.
Yeah, that's the Koraidon Walking Wake Sun team.
Yeah, this is heavy Sun. But even then, it's like a lot of Pokemon that you would expect on Sun, but a lot of sets that you wouldn't. Specifically, the Terra Normal Fluttermane with Taunt and Life Orb, and the 3-attack Snarl Walking Wake with Covert Cloak. Like, those are 2 Mons that aren't being ran the way that we usually expect them to. Not to mention the loaded Dyson Koraidon.
I like King Gambit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Pokemon that gets played enough.
That is just like a response I would expect from me. Is just I like the fun mon.
I got a lot of connection to the Big King, but I know when Reg F or whatever this was first called came out. I played like a Koraidon King Gambit team.
Yeah.
And I think that King Gambit in this format is a little slept on, to be fair. I know Incineroar it doesn't do super well into, but you still just get so much benefit, and this is this really great adaptation. The past couple that we've shown has shown Defiant user or someone who can take advantage of the Intimidate with that Intimidate weak mon, whether it be the Okidogi on that last team with the Zacian or King Gambit now with the Koraidon. You have the ability to take advantage of that with the the loaded dice. You're much more willing to bring the Incineroar into this matchup, I think, than you are into that Calyrex Ice team.
Yeah. No, and I think the other weird thing with the Gambit, it's the dark coverage is really good. I think it's weird because you want the utility of an item like Goggles or a healing item or Assault Vest, but you also need the damage that Black Glasses would give you. So I feel like with Gambit, specifically for Reg G, it's like a situation of you want to have multiple things, but you can only pick one, and you have to find a team and find a place where you just need to do that one thing. The other thing doesn't really matter. You have a lot of high power Pokemon on this team, especially with the proto boost that Walking Wake and Fluttermane get, so the damage really isn't super useful. Well, not super, it's always useful, but not so important, where you can run this as another check against a Moongus for your team to have that extra switch in for whether it's of course the spores, ignoring the rage powders to get off sucker punches into the other slot. That's pretty useful. Another team that you sent me that I was able to find the place, 34th place Ryan Bingham. This is the Double Genie Tinkaton team, and we brought this up because yet again it's a Tinkaton.
And I believe this Tinkaton survived on stream a Calyrex Shadow Astral Barrage to win them an important match. So, very cool. Carter, I know you're a huge Tinkaton fan, so I found this one for you.
Swede just got him a what's the middle evolution?
Tinkatuff.
Tinkatink. Is it Tink? I thought it was Tinkatink.
Tinkatink and then Tinkatuff.
Tinkatink is the smallest one, yeah.
He Swede just got himself a Tinkatuff plush, and it's really adorable.
I think Swede actually was one of Tinkatuff is a Pokemon that I would pick up a lot in drafts when I was playing, and I think Swede was a big proponent of that in the beginning. But you get Eviolite Tinkaton without Gigaton Hammer, and I mean, Tinkaton has great support pool.
Dude,
like,
its support pool is genuinely insane.
It goes so much deeper than what we see on the screen too.
Oh
Like
my
it gets
god,
like
no.
Thunder Wave, it gets Taunt, it gets like ridiculous sets of moves.
I gotta
It
look it
like
up
Helping
again
really
Hand.
goes
because it
deep.
is just it is
It's
legitimately one of those mons that you just look at and you go, "What do I do with this?"
like even if you're just looking at Tinkatuff, you get Encore, Endeavor, Fake Out, Fake Tears, Foul Play, Helping Hand, Knockoff, Screens, Skill Swap,
I didn't
Stealth
even know
Rock
it
for
could
you
skill
singles
swap.
players.
Substitute, Thunder Wave, Baby Doll Eyes,
It gets
Endure,
Quash. Like,
yeah,
granted, it's
Feint.
not like priority Quash, but still.
Skitter Smack was a move that would run on it and pounce all the time because it has like these separate, secondary effects. You have Metal Sound too, which is like cool. Like it has Sweet Kiss as well. Like a lot of it's niche, but like a lot of it is not. Like a lot of this is for real, and that's just on Tinkaton. Like Tinkaton probably has even more. It's a cool mon. I wish it had better attacking stats, but like.
Yeah, or just like even if it wasn't better attacking, just like slightly better bulk. I know its speed is is it
Its
like
special defense is fantastic. Its speed's like 85. I think I have it pulled up on this other page.
yeah, I have it right here.
It's
94.
94, so it's pretty good.
You're
Better than
close,
I
but
thought.
like
Yeah.
94 speed, 105 special defense. I think if it brought like either one of the HP or defense stats up a little higher, it's like 85 HP, 77 defense. It could probably be a
Look,
lot better
you-
as a support mon. I think the reason why they have the attack at only 75 is because they gave it the insanely powerful
Angela,
Gigaton
I'm gonna
hammer.
stop you right there. I don't want to hear it because a couple months later they went on to make a bear who has that same move, that's the same strength, but is also 135 base special attack and has no immunities, none. It can hit through all its immunities. It doesn't matter. They were like, yeah, Tinkaton, that thing. Forget about that. What about if we made that like 70 times better? Like,
The second I was saying it, we don't see it. She's guarding my records. CJ, one of the local TOs and judges in my area, they picked up a Blood Moon Ursaluna plushie for me because it's been like one of my signature Pokemon of this generation. So yeah, as I was saying it, I just felt her presence like over my shoulder. I'm like, oh yeah,
there's so many ways
Jay's about to go in.
Like there's that's like the most obvious one, but even if you look at like Astral Barrage and Glacial Lance, you look at Make It Rain, you look at all these moves, they were all added right around the same time. These Pokemon have ridiculous stats.
Yeah.
Ridiculous attacking stats. Tinkaton deserves like at least
even
base
like
95. Like, come on now. Like,
or like I was saying, like even like if you gave it Sword Stance, that would be cool.
It does
to
have
boost
Sword
itself up.
Stance.
It does get Sword Stance?
Yeah.
Someone
yeah,
should
yeah.
try that. Not me,
Yeah,
but someone else.
That'd be great and all, but like you're still boosting times 2 on from your base 75. That's like you're just barely even kissing Rhyperior, which we haven't even touched yet. That's like when you double that, you're barely talking about Rhyperior stats, man. Like this
Which
is
we
the
will
state
get
of
there
things.
in a minute. I hope I didn't pass the Rhyperior. Because I do another team that we looked at this is another Zama team, Shenkai Chen's, and the main reason why we're throwing this up is you do have your water fire. No water fire grass. It's a dark foo. Actually, there's a lot of spice in this team. This is you have the Thunder Wave, Icy Wind, double speed control, booster, flutter. You have Taunt Goggles on your Darkfu, which is not what we're used to. But of course, the Pokemon of the hour, Covert Cloak Moltres, Cantonian.
Love it. It's
I still don't like this
insanely wild,
Fluttermane.
but
yeah, this was 40. Where are you? This was 40 something, I believe.
I love the idea of like Moltres being incidentally just able to just burn so many random things. It makes my heart full.
Yeah. So it's if, like, you have the flame body tech, especially Terra Grass. This is one of the things that I brought up to Jay when he first showed me this team. It's really good into Koraidon. You're really you're immediately forcing the Terra into that Terra Fire, because the Air Slash is threatening it. Koraidon really can't hit Moltres that hard. It resists it resists the Flare Blitz, the Flame Charge, and the Close Combat. You get your speed control to make sure that your Dark Fu, which now will hit for neutral damage, or your Landorus, which can hit for super effective damage once you force that Terra onto it. And then once the Koraidon's down, your Moltres is free to just spam Heat Wave and take advantage of the sun that your opponent set for you. So, yeah, I think this was a really cool one. The last team we have, 49th place, and the reason why you brought up Rhyperior, so I actually did a little look. So Scott went, and I'm assuming it was his brother as well, because when I typed in Rhyperior, the same so only 2 Rhyperior were in Vancouver, and it was the same exact team, and both Scott and Matt who played it have the same last name, so I'm assuming that they're related in some sort of thing.
Probably a good guess.
Yeah, just my intuition. So yeah, this team is a family affair, and this is again just another look at Rain. We have Basculegion instead of again we see the Basculegion with Life Orb instead of the Urshifu. Kyogre's very bulky with the Assault Vest in this version. While the Rillaboom is probably pretty speedy and frail, with it being the Terra Grass Miracle Seed. We're not here for any of that, though. We're here to have the Rhydon/Rhyperior conversation again. The last event that the three of us covered, we talked about a Rhydon team. I can't remember if it was like it was Rhydon either with Miraidon or Zama. And the general idea was, what the hell are you doing? Why is this Pokemon on the team? On this 6, Rhyperior makes so much sense.
Rhyperior is sick, man.
I still hate like the Lightning Rod Terra Fairy. Haha, you're Miraidon, your Raging Bolt, they can't touch me. Ha ha ha. I'm invincible. And then like everyone else around you is getting destroyed by
just
Draco
demolished.
Meteors and stuff. Like
it's like that's that SpongeBob meme. It's like, we did it, Patrick. We saved the city, and like everyone else is just freaking like running around and suffering around them.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I see these teams, it literally is the all my friends are dead syndrome teams, because it's just like, just attack around the Rhyperior, you're probably okay, but like at least this has 140 attack. Like I say that this is maybe a little bit better than the Rhydon, and I've had some time to think and reflect, and I just don't like the idea of these teams, guys.
I've come to the conclusion that these mons aren't good.
The other 5 here, the other 5,
yes,
those are good. Those are good Pokemon.
I'm talking about the whole idea of just like, you can't touch me, Miraidon.
I know, like, Scott did like pretty decent.
In what world are you ever getting into a 1v1 where it's Rhyperior versus Miraidon as the last 2 mons? Like, what does that game look like?
Still gets a click Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam afterwards.
So one of the crazy things, just like looking at this, like looking at who they played, he did play. So actually, one of his wins in round 4, Scott played against a Miraidon team with Hands and Charjabug. So against that, it was, what was it?
Charjabug Miraidon sounds so sick.
Hold
on.
Well, I mean, Terra Fairy Rhyperior doesn't sound that bad, I guess. Okay.
So that team finished 4th. So that player finished 4-4. But like overall, like we're kind of like getting on this he again did beat some decent players. Round 6, he beat Siddharth in a rain mirror. Round 8, to get into day 2, he beat Keanu Inosanto, who top 4 a regional last year. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, he lost his winning in, but going into round 10, we were a game away from a set away from Rhyperior making top cut. He actually lost to a team that we already featured, Jose Mena, with the Screamtail Tinglu Zamazenta team. So there was some heat going into that matchup that was going to make top cut.
Okay, so I have reflected once again, and I need to speak on Rhyperior one more time. Okay?
Yes.
I have found why you use this. Okay? And it is for one specific team. Miraidon Iron Hands.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why you use it. I mean, that's the only reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the Terra Fairy. It does give you a positive matchup into both of them. Which this team otherwise really struggles against.
Yeah. Which he did play against. He played against 2 Miraidon Hands teams, and actually 3 Hands teams in general, and went undefeated against Iron Hands and undefeated against Miraidon. So whatever tech it was and the way he played it, it worked, because you could say, this is for this Mon. And, oh, no, I lied. Oh, I can't read. No, that says lost, not win. Screw that, never mind. I missed it. I completely missed. He went 2-1 against Miraidon and 3-1 against Hands.
Okay, that's fair. This team has a really bad matchup into both of them, so
yeah. So the fact that
one is not bad.
Yeah, and I mean when you look at I call that pretty solid. Any other teams we want to throw open before we head out?
I have not looked at teams. I've just been going off of what you've been showing.
Because I know, we mentioned Joe, Jay and I were talking about Joe's team earlier. We've talked about that in the past. I mean, I can just show it super quickly.
Yeah, Grimmsnarl screen stuff is cool.
It's the same team he brought to EUIC, which is the same team he brought to Worlds last year. The Ditto tech on these Miraidon teams is really neat. It not only potentially gives you a second restricted, but just any Pokemon that could be really useful. Maybe you need an Incin. There's your Incin. Maybe you want, another Urshifu. Well, here's your second Urshifu. I think one of the interesting things with Ditto is that we're seeing more and more Ditto ran with items that aren't choice locking. If we actually look at all the Ditto, there were 20 Ditto in the format, in the tournament, and you had only 3 of the 20 were Scarfed. You had 12 Focus Sash, 2 Goggles, 1 Life Orb, 1 Lefties, and 1 Ability Shield. So a lot of different Pokemon, different items with this Pokemon instead of the Scarf that we're so used to seeing with it. So even in that sense, it's kind of the only growth you can have with Ditto, because everything else always stays the same with it. But yeah, it's a cool little thing to note with that.
There's a Venusaur. There's a Venusaur in there too. Do we want to talk about Venusaur on the way out?
Sure, let's talk about Veno on the way out.
Where'd it go?
I have it right on the screen.
Thanks.
Yep, Patrick Berry. So this 6, I don't know if it's the exact 6, but at least a similar concept of the team of Koraidon, Venu, Iron Crown, Spam. That was piloted earlier in the format by Justin Knox and Zach Weed at a tournament. Can't remember which one it was. It was might have been San Antonio. But we've seen this idea. It kind of slaps. And honestly, I think if the format does lean more towards these ghost types, with Lunala popping up, a Chi-Yu side spam mode, kind of fun. Chi-Yu could be positioned very, very well into the format.
I actually really like the idea of Sun plus Venu plus Chi-Yu.
Yeah.
Just Chi-Yu plus Sun equals a nuke, right? And like Venusaur
Yeah.
actually does like pretty okay damage, all things considered. So like getting to boost its damage next to Chi-Yu also just seems really cool.
Yeah, no, it's all. Yeah, a lot of these mons are able to. Actually, every Pokemon here besides Koraidon loves being next to Chi-Yu. Even the Indeedee gets help next to Chi-Yu. You can like click Psychic harder.
Yeah,
Listen, if you don't love
if you
being
have
next
to.
to Chi-Yu, you need to just go home. You need to get out of my club. All right. all my homies love our goldfish pals.
Yep, and if you complain about your Chi-Yu missing your overheats or heat waves, love your fish more. Give him
It's
a
a
little
skill
treat.
issue. It's a
Tell him,
skill
yeah,
issue.
it's just love your fish more. Tell him he's a good little boy, even
Just
if
hit
he
your
misses
moves
his
next
overheat.
time. Just
Yeah,
hit your moves. Seriously, just get better.
it's literally that simple.
It's
Jay, you want
not Chi-Yu's fault.
Yep, it's yours. Jay, you want to take us out?
Sure thing. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know down below who your main and Marvel rivals is. Mine is Cloak and Dagger and Invisible Woman.
Jeff.
Yeah, Healer Gang.
Jeff is so freaking cute, man.
I haven't played
Jeff
Marvel
is
Rivals.
fun. Great
Angela,
game.
we need
really
to get
fun.
you like an actual system.
If I had, like,
Angela, what
I
game
enjoy my
systems do
Switch.
you have?
I have my Switch, and that's pretty much
Okay,
it.
cool. So
at this point,
go to Walmart, buy a PS5 real quick.
Yeah, it's just down the street. I'll get right to it.
Go put a
You're
small
right,
loan down on your house.
In your neighborhood is probably a Target.
It's a Walmart. I have a Walmart.
Brothers over here acting like Walmart has that good of prices. Like they're that cheap. They're not.
Yeah,
okay?
it's like the
they're
same
not.
thing.
They're about the same. And you
It's
don't get any you don't get that many good sales. Their rollback is like a little depressing sometimes. So
yeah.
I was doing an outro 5 minutes ago.
We were, yeah. Do your outro.
Rivals, so like, and then I had to, make fun of Angela for being rich.
No, it's a great game, a lot of fun. Yeah, come and hang out in the community Discord. We're around. I'm like around, I guess. Angelo and Carter are around. They're like definitely around. And you can come and hang out with us. And
I think it's just because people are done with this regulation and just want.
You guys are helping promote the Discord a ton right now by calling it quiet.
I'm just saying,
if
people would jump in,
it's really helping.
Make it loud.
Yes, come and scream in the Discord as loud as you can to tell us that you're not a bot, please. And then go and check out the Blue Sky because Twitter is not a good place.
Nope.
And that is at Littleroot Lessons. And then we also have a Discord and Patreon supporters links down below, which you can go check out and pay for me to hopefully pay rent next month, I guess.
Nah, I'm just gonna buy fancy skins on Rivals.
Yeah, I did get the new Cloak and Dagger skin. It goes so hard.
I haven't bought any skins in that game yet.
Yeah, I got Mr. Fantastic's bundle.
Is it the wedding bundle?
And then Alex got Invisible Woman. So we rock that, and then and then the Cloak and Dagger. I've been playing her quite a bit, and they just came out with like they're wearing like suits, and Cloak is wearing like a purple suit with a fedora, so it gives off a specific type of like swag vibe to it. And yeah, it's freaking awesome. The skin is so dope.
Dude, this
I
is
love it.
sick.
It goes
this
so
is
hard.
So good
it goes
looking.
So hard. I think it's inspired by the Hellfire Gala, which is going to be next season's Battle Pass. But they absolutely swagged out, and the highlight intro goes crazy. But yeah, that's the episode, everyone. Thank you all so much for listening to us ramble and rant. And we'll see you all next week. Peace out.
I really want the pink Jeff skin.
I think Jeff is very nice.